Good day, fellas. I hope you are ready for your daily dose of skill. And no, today we are not going to play with FCM50T. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Today we are going to talk about one extremely important thing, and it is trading. Skill, what is trading? First of all, I bet there is some of you who do not know how to access it. So it is pretty much event which is giving you half of the value of your premium tank, and you can trade it for other premium tanks. So let's say if FCM, you would click the second button on FCM in the garage, you would click exchange, you would notice you are getting into the trade in store, right? And this is very important thing, and I know some of you do not like the tank which you have, so it is pretty good way to exchange the tanks which are collecting rust in the garage. As an example, you hate FCM50T, you did your best, you just do not want to see this tank again. Well, as you can see, you can select something instead of it. So for example, for FCM you are getting 5,350 gold, and you can select vehicle which you want to get, right? Those are the tanks which I can get, right? This is my secondary account, and I can get like IS6 for 5,000 gold, or alternatively Star 2 for 1,200 gold, or Rev for 1,000 gold, or Trash 103 for 1,000 gold. Pretty much you are getting half of the tank value, half of the value of your old toy which you used to love, and now it is a half chewed, and you can get something better for yourself. Now the question is, what to get skill? This is the question, and I have no clue. Well, first of all, remember, index page is there always for you, right? You can check out, as an example, you are curious, skill, I wonder how skill is rating German super heavy VK7501. So you can use the search function very easily, and you can see everything yourself, which tanks are rate good and which are not so good. You can find the YouTube video, overall rating, field modifications, expectation values for mark of excellence, obviously the equipment setup, and many other things. I truly want to highlight this, fellas, because it's super easy to use. That's what we have done, and hopefully you are enjoying it. Or overall you are wondering, skill, I wonder what tank is the hardest to mark in World of Tanks. You can use the filters and you can see the hardest tank is Chieftain, after that 279E, after that VK75. Or maybe you are thinking, skill, I wonder which tanks skill haven't marked yet. Kaboom! Clicking here, dragging your mouse on more, and you can see which tanks I marked. You can click on unmarked, and you can see the tanks which I'm missing to mark on one account and on another account. Once again, I am doing this to highlight how to use the index, right? And if you cannot speak in English language, there is plenty of other languages to select, right? I just want to make it clear to use, because I know we are having new people all the time watching the videos, so yeah. Anyways, now in couple of sentences, I am going to describe every single tank which you can trade in, right? So we are going to use this video pretty much as a command in the live stream as well, so people will know, just to save the time while they are taking a kaku on the toilet, right, which tanks are good and which tanks are not so good. Obviously, I cannot say the tanks which you should trade yourself. You need to figure out which tanks you like and which tanks you dislike, right? As an example, if you hate IS6, obviously trade it in. If you do not like IMBT, because today I had quite some people who said, I hate IMBT, I want to get rid of it, or Swiper, right? Well, it's up to you, you know, I cannot stop you, even though they are not bad tanks, they are not perfect, right? When we have this out of the way, skill, move your ugly face. Sorry, you don't need to be mean. Unbelievable. Whew, so mean. Okay, look, let's go through the tanks quickly and let's see what do I recommend to take and what I do not recommend to take, right? So, looking into all of this, You know how it works, you know how to access it. I showed that already. Now let's talk about the tanks overall, which is good tank, which is not so good tank. So let's start from 112. In my opinion, 112 is not that great of a tank. Well, it has good armor, it has okay speed, but gun could make even nanny cars. So I would recommend not to take it. 50TP prototype, on the other hand, it is not the best tank overall, right? Well, what do I mean by saying this? I mean, it doesn't have the best gun. Probably gun is just a bit better than 112, but it has, in my opinion, very, very trollish armor, and it has a bit better alpha damage. Even though the gold penetration is not the best, I still rate this tank very, very high in the list, and I think this tank is actually fine, so I would recommend to take it, and the most importantly, it's quite easy for beginner to play. In fact, I would say it's better than Defender, as wrong as it sounds. Moving on, next cannon, Jagdpanzer, I do not recommend this tank, and the main reason why so is the gun handling. On the paper, gun handling is pretty good, but in reality you cannot hit the barn. It is just not so good. Overall combination of the things would be fine, but gun is killing this tank for me personally. After that we have Liberty. Maybe it would be okay for a newer player, but I would not recommend to take this tank. Action 10. I lately played with this tank and I hated my life while I was playing with it, so I would not recommend to take this tank. Chrysler Key is quite easy tank to play for a beginner, but what you need to keep in mind, it is obviously rear mounted turret, but this is not the most important thing. The most important thing, the standard penetration is like 190 and gold penetration is like 260, so you are kind of forced to spam the gold with it. ELC even is quite interesting one. It's perfect for beginners who are just starting playing with the light tanks, but skill, how is it perfect? The camo rating of this vehicle is super good, right? So this is the biggest highlight of this vehicle. So that's why I would recommend taking this if you are struggling to complete the mission or something. I can promise you that. Prokrovka, Kempinovka, you will be Gucci. Moving on, next, we have Skill4ltu. Avoid, in my humble opinion, it is one of the worst tanks in the world of tanks. I truly mean it. It's just bleh. Moving on, next, Hawk 30. It is pretty good tank, but you need to know what you are doing. It is a light tank. You can spot and you can do damage. Plus, on top of that, you have very, very nice high explosive ammunition, which is absolutely amazing. Then we have IS-6. With IS-6, I think it's outdated. In the best case scenario, it's playable or even below that. Cannon Jagdpanzer. If you want to have a sniper schnitzel, agile sniper schnitzel, this tank can work. Even though DPM is not the best, accuracy is good, just fully aim, okay? After that, we have Love. With Love, it is typical standard tank, at least in my opinion. There is one good feature of the tank, actually two. First feature is the gun. Love gun is actually nice. And after that, the credit printing. Even with, probably if you would do 1000 damage with Love, you would make the most credits with Love compared to any other tank out there. I'm not even joking. This is the most important selling point from the Love. After that, we have Rev. Well, speaking about the Rev, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this tank has a very nice gun. I really like the gun of this tank, but other than that, tank has nothing to offer. Considering currently we have Bzz in the game, yeah, Bzz 176, you know, minus 800 damage guaranteed. This tank is tall as a side scraper. So that is the worst thing of all this. But you can kind of snipe. But think about this. You can snipe with a tank destroyer as well. So do you want to be tall as a brick and without armor? Well, you tell me. Overall, it's hard tank to play with. After that, we have a Raum Panzer. Raum Panzer is just a meme tank. You have a shovel in front. It's pretty much useless, at least in my humble opinion. After that, we have Skoda T27. It is in a way budget Progetto, to be fair with you. Do I recommend it? Gun can troll you a lot, so probably I would not recommend it. But if you really want to test it out and you love Progetto, well, maybe it will fit with your style, although once again, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Progetto is simply so much better tank. That is the main reason why I would highly recommend to avoid this. Now we have a new Samoa. I lately played with a Samoa and it was actually pretty decent tank. Apart gun handling, sometimes it was a bit annoying and you need to shoot a bit of the gold, but other than that it is okay tank. After that we have a Star 2. Star 2 is hard tank to play with, but it has a nice penetration and in my humble opinion it has very nice gun handling, so I would not recommend it for a new player, but if you are an experienced player, you might find this as a hidden gem if you know how to play with the tanks without armor. S1, perfect sniper schnitzel, snipe from the back and you are going to be Gucci. At least in my opinion, it is one of the better tanks if you like the gameplay from the red line. Or alternatively as a spotter if you are getting good maps and there is no light tanks. After that we have Trash 103. I would recommend to buy it for bones, honestly, so you do not need to spend the gold for it, but overall it is okay tank as wrong as it sounds, even though it is looking weird and it has 2 booba. After that we have Super Pershing. Super Pershing, in my opinion, is one of the better beginner-friendly tanks out there, and it's still fine even to this day, even when we have Iron Army or anything else. In my opinion, it is fine. Then we have Patriot. My heart is bleeding to say that, but I don't really recommend to take Patriot. Nowadays we have so many different options, and if it is possible to take yourself the Iron Army or the same T832, if you know what I mean. After that we have, so do not take it. And by the way, if you see any of those tanks buyable for bonds, why would you spend gold for it? It just doesn't make sense. I just grind bonds over time and eventually you are going to have access to it. T54 first prototype. Lately I played with this vehicle and I felt like it is a bit of the disappointment nowadays. I'm not even joking. By saying this, I mean this tank is just simply... how to say that? Gun handling is made in China, okay? I hope that is a good enough description. After that we have T92. Avoid, in my opinion, the gold ammunition of this tank is super expensive, 5,000 plus, and you are doing 150 alpha damage by just getting tiny touch more penetration. I would say avoid this vehicle. After that we have a new addition, Turtle. I personally do not like Turtle. I know some people like it. It is a kind of beginner friendly tank, you know, you are sitting kind of hold down and you are enjoying yourself with good DPM, but it's just too slow nowadays. When the games are 2 minutes, I mean, what do you want me to say? After that we have Vaka, which I do not recommend, quite trollish gun handling, not reliable armor, and we have a Z120, which I think is pretty good tank destroyer overall. The main reason why am I saying so is because this tank has very good DPM, it has okay gun handling, and it has flexibility. It has armor, you can go left, right, and center. You are top tier, you go in front. You are bottom tier, you can snipe from the back, and everything can work pretty well. Now we have some lower tiers, obviously. I personally do not recommend 8015A, even though it is kind of idiot-proof tank and it is not so hard tank to play with. Avoid, never buy this tank. If you will, my cat will laugh from you and you will need to clean her shitbox. IS2, IS2M, they are kind of similar and they are kind of identical, to be fair with you, and they are okay for tier 7, but please keep this in mind. If you want to grind credits, tier 8 is the right way to go. Don't look into the tier 6s or tier 7s, because tier 8 is the place to be, unless you cannot stand the higher tier. After that we have ISU 122S, one of the best DPMs in the game, but not really flexible, slow, no armor, so, and quite derpy gun handling. Kruppstern, Waffentrager, no armor whatsoever, so everyone will eat you with high explosives, but you have a nice gun, Cover 122, extremely quick for a heavy tank, but no armor and derp gun handling, which is is no bueno. After that, we have Scorpion tier 7. It is okay, actually. 240 alpha damage and like 275 penetration with a gold ammunition. This is pretty good. Panther M10 low alpha damage, but for a tier 7, it can work, especially whenever you are getting good matchmaking, and this tank have pref matchmaking on top of that. After that, we have Su-122-44, which is okay. I haven't played with this tank in a while, but I would say it is okay as a tank, right? Apart view range, if I'm not mistaken. Eagle is actually fine with a turbo. It is mini T20. If you are using turbo, it's not so bad. I remember when I first marketed this tank, I did not like it. After that, I started using turbo when equipment 2.0 came out, and it was actually decent. NVK is okay in the best case scenario. Now looking into the lower tiers, like tier 6s, AC4 experimental, it has a PP. You don't believe in me? Watch this. You see this? It has a PP over there, so do not take it. It's just simply not worth it, in my opinion. Although the gun penetration is good PP and good penetration, good one skill. Dicker Max is okay. If you like sniping from the back, you have gun depression and you have nice view range, but other than that, not the most flexible. Tier 6 heavy tank number 6 is okay. Poodle is actually okay. If you are lover of VK, if you are a lover of this vehicle, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Tech 3, Germans, and Germans, and we have VK3002M. If you are a fan of this vehicle, I can promise you that, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you will like this tank because it's pretty much identical and you are making credits, but yeah. Meanwhile, after that, we have a Sherman Firefly. Sherman Firefly, in my opinion, is meh in the best case scenario, so kind of avoid it. The platform is the problem. The gun is okay, but platform is not so good. Skoda has okay alpha damage for that tier, but once again, I do not see why would you take something like this, to be fair with you. After that, we have Esterva autoloader. This is quite a good sign and quite a good thing, but quite hard tank to play with and with a bit of the derpy gun handling. Then we have Su-100i. I cannot stand this tank, but I know there is a lot of people who actually love it just because of the alpha damage. It's like ISU in the tier 6, which is making credits in a way. Then we have T-3485M. I would recommend to take this tank. If you are playing lower tier, you must have this vehicle because it is okay tank. After that, we have a TOG. If you do not like to be a sausage in the game, I do not recommend it. If you are thinking it's fun to go 20 kilometers per hour speed, or I supposed to say 15 kilometers per hour speed and feed everyone, then this tank is for you. But please wait until I will start marking tier 6 tanks before clicking into the battle. Thank you. And after that, we have Type 64, which is kind of must-have tank as well, at least in my opinion, especially to practice lower tier light tank gameplay, right? So all in all, I try to go through every single tank as soon as possible. I dealt with everything in 17 minutes, but once again, I went ham, if you know what I mean, and I do not really wanted to go deeper with each tank. Now, as an example, you are interested in 112, remember, index pages for you. You can even use the search function, type the tank name, and you will see the YouTube video, you will see the rating, you will see equipment setup, which I recommend. You can see other content creators' equipment setup as well, the crew setup, which I recommend to use, expectation values, and many more things. I really highly recommend to use the index, and I hope it is going to be useful for us. I hope so. So, now, without further ado, fellas, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and informative, and I hope I could help you a bit talking non-stop and being quick with this. Thank you. See you next time. Skill is out for today. Peace.